Everybody, welcome to Storm Talk, and really we'll just be focusing on the setup here for this weekend, and I'll briefly talk about all the way out to Derby coming up as well in just a few minutes. This is our latest SkyTrak camera, brought to you by Kentucky Kingdom at Kentucky Kingdom. Kind of a cool shot. It'd be nice to see when all the clusters get going as we head into the summer months coming up. Alright, we've got more cloud cover around today, but overall I'm still expecting a decent amount of sunshine. It's been a warm overnight period. Barely dropped below 70 just in the past couple of hours. At 67 now. We'll be back in the 70s again soon. Now, the moisture levels aloft have certainly increased, and that's the reason why we're getting more cloud cover now compared to yesterday's perfectly blue sky, and also the low humidity led to that high fire danger that we have with the gusty winds. So today we're adding more moisture to the air. That will help with the fire danger issue. Enough moisture that can't run a few sprinkles that will try to pop. They'll at least pop on the radar. Now, whether or not they can reach the ground or not, that's a whole other issue because the atmosphere is still fairly dry. So I wouldn't run a few sprinkles in that case if they can get going. Otherwise, weather view shows the system that's developing. Again, this is going to be a low pressure. It's really getting itself together here across Nebraska. It's going to roll out, and it will then occlude, which means it loses its frontal characteristics. So it'll have a warm front and cold front with it initially. The warm front especially will begin to fade out, and then the cold front will kind of just drift to the east here along 65 and just kind of crawl through slowly through the whole weekend. And because we lose that force of the front going forward like that, it really cuts down on the severe threat for many areas. But you can still get some instability of thunderstorms because there is still enough wind energy with a front like that if you have enough fuel, they can produce some damaging winds, and that's what we'll be watching out for. In addition to the slower movement allowing for repeated rounds of rainfall to develop. The Storm Prediction Center today has the level 3 enhanced area from roughly ahead of that low all the way down and across another little mini low that will be developing in Arkansas later tonight. This would include the Memphis area, Little Rock, all the way down to Louisiana. Tomorrow, everything moves east. Again, there's two different really low pressures to watch. One located around Illinois, one down to the south. We're kind of in between the two. And the reason why we are not connected at this time, as far as a slight risk goes, is because our area will have some debris clouds and perhaps some rainfall, and that's going to make things a little more iffy for wave country when it comes to anything severe. When we look at the latest layer on the high-res models, let me show you how things are trending. I'm going to speed the clock up to 2 o'clock in the morning for tonight, tomorrow morning. We're fine, other than those sprinkles in Indiana today. We'll be fine this afternoon, this evening. Topping out near 85, in fact. Now, we will have the round of thunderstorms developing to our west. These will be moving quickly toward I-65. The thing is, dew points along 65 at this point in the morning hours, pre-dawn, will be lower than they are, say, in Evansville and Paducah. So when that thunderstorm complex runs into it, it will begin to shrink and lose intensity. And the models certainly do show that activity as it moves to the east, you lose that ability. Now, once we get into mid-morning, that higher moisture level, the higher dew points, do drift more toward I-65, and yet another impulse moves through, and now we're seeing another reaction that could kick up some thunderstorms around Lexington late morning and midday. That is certainly possible. So there's a chance for Louisville, southern Indiana, metro area here, that we could have thunderstorms weakening approach us, fall apart, we get the little residual effect, and then they power up again just to our east, to where we will get very little in the way of rainfall from the first round. And I think that is certainly a plausible setup that we've seen many, many times. Timing is everything, and we may be timed out perfectly here in Louisville at least, but if you're west or you're east, may not be so lucky. But here's the thing, as we get into the afternoon hours, are we going to see any type of thinning of the clouds? Now, this cloud shield is not high res. The one I did look at, it was high res, did show some thinning of the clouds to allow some sunshine to try to heat things up. If we get sun, it will not take much at all to get us well into the 70s. Then we have some fuel to work with, because there's another impulse waiting for us in Nashville that's going to roll in. If we stay cloudy and overcast, that impulse is still going to move in, but it will have less fuel to work with, if any fuel at all, so it will be mainly just a big blob of rain. So we are at 5:30, and here we go into the evening. That second wave moves in, and you can see how it drifts in, but it's not sure what to do with it, because at the moment it's not sure there's going to be enough fuel to really make it overly intense. But I want you guys to be aware of that period of time, say 6 p.m. to about 11 p.m. Keep an eye on the radar across southern Kentucky and see what can pop there and move northeast into central areas of Kentucky. That's the time period. If we're going to get anything strong or briefly severe, it'll be then. Otherwise, that blob will move through, and then we got multiple rounds that will kind of develop along the cold front and take its sweet time getting through here all the way into Sunday. And this is where we run into problems, because you're dealing with these multiple rounds. Some areas could see heavy rain more than once, and that is where the narrow corridor is showing up in the models here over and over of about a 2 to 3, even 4 inch rain band that could develop. It's going to be very narrow, though. You go either side of that and the rain totals really drop off, but hopefully the multiple rounds will be displaced enough, and that is still possible, that we can spread out that type of amount of moisture to where it's generally a 1 to 2 inch rainfall for a lot of people, versus one band or one location getting nearly 4 inches rain. Everybody else gets about a quarter to half inch. This is one of those times when we definitely want to be sharing the wealth, if you will, when it comes to rainfall. So there is some flash flooding potential, and that's the main reason for the alert day that's out, is that potential could happen Saturday night and Sunday. So just be weather aware, and we'll know real soon if that's a possibility or not. After that, things will calm down. Now, here's the Schref ensembles. I know this is hard to read the numbers, but this gives you an idea of the severity of what we're looking at on the thunderstorm side of things. The black line is the average of all the chaos of potential that it has. And my magic number for wind shear for severe weather is 40. That's about there. Notice it's just below that as far as the average. Some of them take it there, but in general, this is just below what I feel is more of a severe wind threat. So it would be marginal. That's exactly what we got right now, is marginal for the Storm Prediction Center. So that fits. So feeling good on that end. The fuel. Now this is where you see a big spike, because again, it depends if the sun can break through or we get any fuel. If we stay relatively stable, if you will, mainly cloudy, we got some fuel to work with, about 500 to about 1,000 joules per kilogram. That's possible. But if the sun were to come out, it can spike over 1,500. Then you're talking about severe wind that can develop within thunderstorms. Even though you don't have a lot of wind energy aloft, the instability of the fuel could be enough to develop downburst winds. For those of you that are weather nerds, keep an eye on the downdraft cape tomorrow on the soundings, if you know what I'm talking about. Watch that value. If it gets above 800, close to 1,000, then this is the reason why you're going to be adding a lot of fuel there. Okay. Rainfall totals on this is what I was talking about. It depends on whether or not we see the same areas get hit. In general, it's going about a 2 to 4 inch potential out of this for Louisville. But you see the range that we're looking at here. It just depends on how many of those impact one location. You can get less than an inch, and in some cases less than a half inch, to as much as 4 inches or more. So it'll highly vary in wave country. So I'm going to make sure I stress there will be dry periods Saturday. I hope everybody's understanding that. There will be some dry periods. There will be heavy rain, but not every county is going to get the heavy rain. For those that do get the heavy rain, got to watch out for flash flooding. Otherwise, it's a non-event for a lot of you out there. But we have to be cautious and weather aware for all of wave country, all 29 counties. So that's the reason why we have to bring the awareness to everybody. After that, thunder, by the way, I wish I had that graphic in here. I forgot. Thunder is trending. That low pressure gets close to us on thunder, but still doesn't move all the way in until later Saturday night into Sunday. As long as it holds off just to the west before midnight, we will be windy, but we will be warm, around 80, with thunderstorms likely later that night and Sunday. If it speeds up in time, then we're going to be in the thunderstorm zone for thunder afternoon. We do not want that, but so far we're lucking out. Let's hope our luck holds. Looking toward Derby, the models, again, this is Derby week, not Derby day, but Derby week, still trending cooler than normal. Normal at this point will be in the 70s, so maybe 60s. And it is trending that there could be some rain at times during that week, but it doesn't look to be a big washout of a time period. So we may have some better news toward Derby. We'll see how that trends. That's it for today. I will see you guys in about 10 days. Have a good one.